So, it's my birthday, and Sutherland Mazda rang up and said, hey, do you want to have a car for the weekend? Obviously, I'm a Mazda bloke these days. I've got my BT50, I've got a CX-5. So, this weekend, for my birthday, I'm going to be rocking the CX-90, the brand new, blacked out, sinister CX-90. So I've got a couple of trips planned this weekend, so I'll take you with me, and I'll do a bit of a wrap up at the end of the weekend and let you know what I think about the CX-90. Well, it's Monday morning in the Royal National Park, and I've spent the whole weekend with this beautiful Mazda CX-90 from Sutherland Mazda. Now, today is all about just getting some footage and talking to you about the car after I've experienced it all weekend. But on Saturday, I went up to Saddles at Mount White for my birthday lunch with my family, and it was such a beautiful, comfy car, getting all the way up the freeway and into Saddles. And I must say that in my opinion, in the last 5 years or so, Mazda is going into the luxury market very, very strongly. But let's talk about that more in the car along the way. Now, I will say that this is not a car review. I'm just featuring this car. Like, I've been lucky enough to have this car shared with me for a weekend. It's not a review. There are plenty of other reviews out there, but I will talk about some of the specs, just so you're aware of it. But before we jump in the car and go for a drive, let's have a quick look around the outside. Okay, I think the biggest thing to note about the CX-90 is that it is big. Now, it's about almost 2 meters wide, and that's not so wide, too wide for my driveway, but in general, the width is not a problem. But the car is 5.1 meters long. So that is a really, really long car. But there is a reason for that. It is a 7-seater, and as you'll see in a moment, the back seat in particular is absolutely spacious. There is so much space in there you would not believe. So almost limousine style. So that's why the car is 5.1. And yes, this car would be most suited to families, growing families with teenagers and younger kids that could fit in the back too. And it is an inline 6-cylinder diesel, 3.3 litre. And in my opinion, it's got oodles of power. More power than you'll ever need for a car like this, for an SUV. I was so impressed with the power, in fact, that I probably stepped on the accelerator a little bit too often, because when you accelerate, it sounds incredible, and the push back into the seat is something you don't expect from a diesel. 21-inch wheels all round, and I'm really quite impressed with the style of them. Alloy wheels, they really set off the car quite nicely. So this CX-90, being a black one, is really set off nicely with the little bits of chrome trim all around it. That's like my Harley Davidson. I like black vehicles, but I do like a little bit of chrome to break up the black, and they've done that really well here. Now, as you can see here, the boot space, it's reasonable, but primarily if you had the third row of seats laid flat, you've got a massive boot space here. With the third row of seats being in use, not so much space, but still more than most standard hatchbacks as well. For convenience in the boot, over here on the right-hand side, we've got a 220 volt outlet. We've also got a 12 volt outlet, a cigarette socket, and this can put a little fridge in the back. Maybe you need to charge some things while you're traveling. For me, using a camera gear all the time, I'd be able to put my camera gear in here on charge while I'm traveling from A to B. Definitely a convenience factor here. So I'm sitting in the back seat now, and the front seats are set up for myself, which is 5'10", and I have oodles and oodles of room in the back seat. You can see where my feet are. I got so much room to stretch out here. Quite common in family style SUVs these days is the raise up mesh that will protect your kids from sun, and some more comforts here in the back. So the back seat has its own controls here for the air conditioning, and also 2 USB-C outlets there to be able to charge devices as well. So having a look into the third row, just press this button down here, and everything moves forward. And as you can see, the third row is very, very comfortable. Cup holders on each side, but there is limited leg room, so definitely more designed for kids or adults, maybe smaller adults, but on a short journey. But the seats are absolute luxury and comfort though. There is wireless charging up here for your phone and touch buttons for all of your controls for the air conditioning. And if you know me, you know that I like physical touch buttons instead of the modern day haptic feedback sort of stuff. Quite a large entertainment screen there on the dash where you can put your navigation and your music or vice versa. Easy to see. And a fully customizable dash display as well. The controls on the steering wheel are nice. Again, they're real buttons, they're real textural buttons. And in general, I think that Mazda is really hitting the affordable luxury mark absolutely in style. Now, one more thing before we hit the road is something that doesn't excite me that much because, hey, I'm a bold guy, but there is a beautiful panorama roof on this, the GT model. As you can see, it goes all the way to the back seat, so the people in the second row also have a beautiful roof above them. And just for the two front seats, this roof opens up to let fresh air in or hot air out. Okay, so let's talk about the drivability of this CX-90. It's a big car, as I said a bit earlier. It's at 5.1 meters long and it's just under 2 meters wide. Now, it's not American truck big, but it is big for an SUV and you do feel it a little bit. Now, one thing that I thought about when I looked at the size of this vehicle and the potential weight of the vehicle, how is a 3.3 litre diesel going to cope with the weight of this from a family car point of view? Obviously, my Mazda BT50, which I love, has a 3 litre diesel. It's a different motor, but it's good enough for that, for a commercial vehicle. This is luxury. This is bordering on the edge of European luxury in this car, and the motor really needs to supplement that theory. Now, I can say the 3.3 litre turbo diesel in this car is incredible. It's an inline 6-cylinder and it just has monster amounts of acceleration when needed. It actually feels like a petrol engine with the way it accelerates. Not only that, but on acceleration, it sounds incredible. Now, I don't know, I haven't done enough research. I don't know if that sound is piped into this car like a lot of modern cars do, or if it is the engine noise, but I do know that when I put my foot on the accelerator, it makes me smile, it makes me happy, it sounds incredible. Now, I might back off a little bit, and I don't know how much it's going to pick up on this microphone. It probably won't pick up at all, but let's give it a little shot. So I'm doing, let's say we're doing 60 kilometers an hour. I hit the accelerator. Now, I'm not going to tell you what speed I got up to then because it might get me into trouble, but you might have noticed the smile on the dial on the acceleration. I really, really love the power of this CX-90. Now, the comfort levels are more than you'd expect. They're beautiful leather seats here. They are heated. Even the rear seats, the second row seats, are heated as well and controllable by the panel on the center console, so the rear passengers can control their own heated seats. That's a big win as well. And cornering on a twisty road, well, you just feel like you're in a much smaller, much agile car. You do feel the weight, but it does tuck into the corners really nicely. And yeah, if you like a twisty road like I do, you won't be let down by owning a Mazda CX-90, I promise you. A quick stop at Bald Hill for a coffee, and all of the tourists are here, but can't blame them. It's a good spot. Great views looking south towards Wollongong on the south coast, and coffee's good, and there's bikes and cars everywhere.